Hey, how you guys doing? This is Augustic Dunbar coming at you again. Today, what I wanted to talk about was negative self-talk and how it is that you talk to yourself. You know, it's crazy. I get so many people who say things to themselves like, "Oh, I'm so clumsy. I'll never get married. I'm such a bad salesman. I'm such a bad, boyfriend, girlfriend. And all these negative things." But those same people will turn around and say, Augusta, you're too cocky. You're arrogant. And I say, you know what? That's your opinion. You can have your own opinion on me if you like. But my opinion is I just love myself more than you do. I do. Right? And if I don't love me, why would anybody else love me? I've got to be my biggest fan. Okay? Just like you need to be your own biggest fan, guys. It's funny. I want to give an example of this person I ran into in their negative self talk. I was on the train going home one day from work, and I bumped into this lady. We were sitting next to each other. Let's call her Sarah. And I was just getting to know her. I'm a very gregarious guy and all of that. And I was just asking her about where she worked, and I think she said she worked at Bank of America. And I was asking her, do you like it? Do you love it? Whatever. She said, no, I kind of just do it because I need to pay the bills, which is a sad reason to work in itself, but whatever. And then I asked her, so what are you passionate about? What do you really want to do? And she said, oh man, I really like to travel. I like to travel. I really want to travel. And I said, okay, well, what's stopping you? Why don't you travel more? And she said, well, me and my husband already may have a hard time making ends meet, and I just need to make more money. If I make more money, I can travel. Okay, cool. Well, what are you gonna do to make more money? Right? I'm helping her process this issue, this problem. She said, well, I could go back to school and get a degree. And I said, you know what? Yeah, you sure could. And then she immediately started going into self-deprecating talk or negative self-talk. She said, well, I would, but I'm just too lazy. I'm too old, and I'm just not smart enough. And I was like, Sarah, why are you talking to yourself like that? Really? Really? I said, Sarah, if you had a friend who talked to you the way that you just talked to yourself, how long would you hang around that friend? And her response was not very long. And I said, exactly. You can't talk to yourself that way and expect to succeed. You'll always be broke. You'll always be, uh, not young enough. You'll always be too old, which is whatever. I was like, look, you're 40, you're 44 now. It'll take you 4 years to the degree, maybe five. You're gonna be 48, 49 one day anyway. You might as well be 48 or 49 with a degree, right? I say all that to say that people can be very negative and very pessimistic to others, but typically they also are very negative and pessimistic to themselves. And so I wanted to just tell you guys that you have to be careful of not only what you say about yourself, but what you think. And this is kind of the thought process. It goes from, whatever you think determines how you feel. How you feel determines what actions you take, and what actions you take determines what results that you get. So, for example, if there's a young woman watching this video, she says, I think I'm a bad girlfriend. I've all my relationships end early. I'm just not. I just have a hard time keeping a man. I'm just bad. So that's the thought, right? So how does she feel about herself? She feels as if I'm not good at having a significant other. So what actions is that going to lead to? It's going to lead to her not talking to men, just not trying. It might lead to her maybe cheating in relationships or something like that. She might feel like, oh, well, it's going to end anyway. I'm going to mess it up. I might as well do this, whatever, right? And what kind of results is that going to get her, right? She's going to be alone. She's going to be single forever. She's going to be lonely. She's not going to have any friends because if I'm bad with, relationships, then I don't want to see my friends be happy in relationships either. That's the kind of the thought process. And I know it sounds crazy and like maybe I'm generalizing or whatever, but it's really like people think these things. So what's the solution, right? I would recommend that you go get a book. It's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. I was given this book earlier this year in 2016. Very good book. It just talks about the different ways that we talk negatively to ourselves and what things we can reprogram our brain with in order to say better things, to construct better things to say. But the quickest solution, what I would say is Whenever you catch yourself having a negative thought or saying something negative to yourself, what you want to do is record it. Write it down. Maybe keep a journal with you, or a notepad, or even some sticky notes, whatever. You want to write it down. And then when you get the opportunity, maybe that night or later that afternoon, you want to go back and look at it and you want to say, man, how does this affect me? If I said, oh, I'm terrible at sales, how does this affect me? Like if I continue to think this way, if I continue to say this to myself, how is this going to affect me for the rest of my life? Okay? And then you want to ask, okay, is this affecting me positively or negatively? Okay, is this something that I want to keep, or is this something that I want to change? If it's something that you want to change, what I want you to do is cross it out and replace it with something different. So for example, when you say things like, oh, I'm broke, right? Replace that with, I'm overcoming a cash flow problem, right? I'm learning how to manage my money better. When you say things like, I'm not good with building relationships, you should say instead, I'm learning how to overcome my problem with building relationships, right? There's a bunch of different ways you can mix it and flip it and all of that, but you want to say it in a positive light, right? Um, Otherwise, if you keep talking to yourself that way, you'll never get any better, guys. You'll never get any better. And this can be hard to do. You can, at the very beginning of it, you're going to catch yourself having a lot of very negative and limiting beliefs. But this is an exercise that if you do it over and over and over and over again, you'll eventually start to catch yourself. And eventually, they'll start to happen less and less and less and less and less. But as you experience more in life, it kind of gets, as you try new things, you're always going to have that doubt in the back of your mind anytime you try anything new. But just remember, write it down, catch it, and make sure that you replace it with something that you actually want to become truthful and honest in your life, right? Every master was once a disaster, right? LeBron James didn't come out, dunking the ball or whatever. He first believed that he could do it, and eventually he was able to. Same thing with everyone else. You look at the greatest athletes or the greatest thinkers, philosophers, they believed that they were great, and eventually they became great. It was not the other way around. I guarantee it. Anyway, guys, that's it. Till next time, see you guys at the top. Bye.